You know, back on October 30th, 2008, Barack Obama proclaimed that we have 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Of course, 5 days later, on November 4th, he won the presidency and ever since has really been pursuing his vision of trying to fundamentally transform our country. One of the things that we're going to be talking about today in our first hour is to understand his blueprint and what he wants to accomplish. Much of that, I think, you could have discerned if you were actually paying attention to things that were on his website, things that he said in his speeches. But I think it has been sort of a wake-up call over the last year and a few months as people have begun to understand what indeed he really wants to accomplish. So we're going to be talking about the book Blueprint. It is a book that I think you're going to find very interesting and helpful. It is published by Lions Press. We have information about the book and our two guests. And let me go to those guests and introduce them properly. Ken Blackwell is an individual we have called upon on a number of occasions in the past, one of America's leading conservative voices, author of Rebuilding America. He is currently the Senior Fellow for Family Empowerment at the Family Research Council. Many of you in the state of Ohio remember him as the Treasurer, Secretary of State, also Mayor of Cincinnati and Undersecretary of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, as well as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Human Rights Commission. Ken Blackwell, thank you so very much for being with us today here on Point of View.
It's very good to be with you.
And let me also introduce your co-host and co-author, and that is Ken Klukowski. He is a constitutional lawyer and journalist. Many of us have enjoyed reading his columns. You find them, for example, in foxnews.com, the Washington Examiner, and of course I find them all the time in townhall.com. He also is a fellow and senior legal analyst with the American Civil Rights Union, and is an individual that has published on many of these constitutional issues. Ken, thank you for being with us as well.
Well, thank you for having me, Kirby. Glad to be here.
Let me go to you first, Ken Blackwell, to talk about the book and what you hope to accomplish. We are going to, in this next hour, talk about everything from domestic policy to foreign policy, judicial issues, and much, much more. And I think you have done a very good job in a book of about almost 300 pages of covering the landscape and really helping us understand that there is a blueprint for what President Obama wants to accomplish.
Oh, absolutely. The Obama administration has gone mad, from the stimulus package to Wall Street bailouts, from an attempt at cap and tax to government expansive and intrusive foray into health care. The federal government is just happy to spend and mortgage our children's future. And we think that there is a very deliberate blueprint, very deliberate plan to transform our economy from a market economy to a government-centered economy. And we think that the founders erected the Constitution as a wall designed to stop any president from fundamentally transforming our country. So the Constitution is a big roadblock for the president. And so what the president is going to try to do is to get around it, get over it, go under it, disregard it, and have a federal bench that will redefine it.
Well, when we're talking about the Constitution, Ken Klukowski, let's come to you for just a minute. As I was reading the book, you were in the book obviously saying that we think that Justice Stevens will step down. Well, obviously he has. One of the things we've done is posted a number of columns by those individuals that have also written this book, so I would encourage you to add the columns as well. And one of those that you wrote recently is why President Obama needs Elena Kagan on the court, and you gave us some very good reasons. And as we are going to the confirmation hearings, which we now will be taking place next month, you talk about, first of all, that she's a liberal without a paper trail. Is that going to make it easier for her to actually get on the court and make some of the changes that President Obama would like to have made?
Well, Kirby, certainly President Obama would like that to make it easier. And I think in some regards it might, but the reality that we've been finding, as I suspected would be the case, and as Ken and I wrote in a column last week, is that even with her very, very short paper trail, that paper trail is nonetheless chock full of instances of far-left activism, which I think really gives us a sense of where she's coming from. It is the tip of the iceberg. And I think that as thin as the paper trail is, there's enough instances there that she's going to be asked some very tough questions by Senate Republicans, and I expect the waters could get pretty rough for her. Now, given the overwhelming Democratic majority in the Senate, it would certainly be an uphill battle to try and stop a person in this setting from being confirmed. But nonetheless, there is a lot of material there that is in fact troubling, and I think it'll be an issue this summer.
Well, I think it might be too. Ken, one of the things that we always do on Fridays, we have people like Kelly Shackelford, who I think you know, around the round table, and Penna Dexter and others. And the other day, somebody was saying, well, is it even possible that this nomination might be stalled? And I said, well, I have 4 words for you: Hainsworth, Carswell, Bork, Ginsburg. I mean, those illustrate that sometimes individuals you think are going to be confirmed to the court aren't, and we'll be looking at that a little bit more. Ken Blackwell, I know you can't be with us for the entire hour, so I may focus a lot of my questions to you, and part of it has to do with Chapter 3 about this idea of an unchecked president, or the subtitle of your book, an imperial president. We used to hear about that during the Nixon administration. Do you think we're moving to a time where we have, again, a president that has almost dictatorial power, or a president like Franklin Delano Roosevelt that wants to pack the courts, which was Chapter 2 of your book?
I think that's exactly what we have in front of us right now. The president, his nominee for the Supreme Court, Elena Kagan, and all, they're foregoing the state. They're for disarming the American people. They're for chasing God and faith out of the public square. And there within is one of the major clashes of worldviews. Mr. Obama refuses to recognize the existence of natural law and our unalienable human rights bestowed on all of us as individuals by God, and not rationed to us, granted to us by the state. And the president and his team are trying to, again, transform the nation's supreme law, the U.S. Constitution, beyond recognition. They want to do this with a minimum of public attention and debate, and that's exactly why we wrote the book. There's a long-standing tradition of natural law, which holds that that there's a higher law than that derived by man. It's a higher law of right and wrong, and as our framers said in the Declaration of Independence, we're endowed by our Creator with these rights, and not granted these rights by the state. And so this is a clash of worldviews that has very practical implications for the relationship between individuals and the government, and as practical implications for our American exceptionalism. For 233 years, we have been an exceptional nation. We've been the most free and the most prosperous in all of human history, and we're just 233 years old.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Ken Blackwell and Ken Kuklowski. They are the authors of the book, The Blueprint, and it is a book, again, that I would commend to you because it really, in 300 pages, really sets out some of the things we've talked about here before. Published by Lions Press. If you'd like to know more about either of our guests or the book, you can go to our website, pointofview.net. We'll continue our conversation with them right after this.